In the stillness of the night, when fear knocks at the door of your soul and the weight of uncertainty presses down on your chest, there's a battle raging that you cannot see. The world around us may seem calm, but deep within a storm brews, one that leaves us feeling isolated, afraid, and unsure of the future. You may look at your circumstances and wonder, is there hope for me? Is there a way through this panic, through this darkness? Today I stand before you to remind you that the panic in your heart is not the end. It is not a signal that you are defeated. It is in fact the beginning of something greater. The beginning of a journey where fear will no longer control you, but where you will rise up in faith and strength when the world seems closed off. When you feel as though you're drowning in a sea of anxiety and helplessness, remember this: the world you see may be closed, but there is a door to peace and hope that only God can open. You are not alone in this. You are not forgotten. You are on the verge of something that will change your life forever. Now, before we dive deeper, let's take a moment to consider what we must do to face the storms of life with courage, to break free from the chains of panic, and to step into a new world of faith, strength, and victory. When everything around you seems to be falling apart, when the world feels like it's closing in on you, and when the weight of fear and doubt is suffocating, the one thing that remains steady is the power of trust. It's a trust that transcends circumstances, a trust that stands unshaken even in the midst of a storm. In the darkest moments of our lives, we often find ourselves asking, why me? Why now? How much longer must I endure this? And it's easy to feel like we're standing at the edge of a precipice, unsure of how to move forward. But in these moments, the greatest thing you can do is trust. Trust is not a passive act. It is an intentional choice we make to surrender our fear and place our confidence in something greater than ourselves. The world tells us to rely on our own strength, our own understanding, our own resources. But there comes a time in everyone's life when you realize that your own strength is not enough, that your own wisdom is not sufficient, that your own efforts will only get you so far. That's when the power of trust comes in. Trusting in God does not mean you will not experience fear or doubt. It doesn't mean that the storms of life will cease to come your way. What it does mean is that when those storms do come, you have an anchor, something to hold on to that will not be moved. You may feel like you're sinking, like the waves are crashing over you, but when you trust in God, you know that He is your refuge and your strength, an ever-present help in times of trouble. It is through this trust that we find peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that guards our hearts and minds. But think about it for a moment. What would it look like if you truly trusted God with everything? What if you trusted Him with your fears, your dreams, your failures, and your future? What if you chose to believe that He is working on your behalf, even when you can't see the way ahead? Trusting in God means acknowledging that He sees the bigger picture, that He knows what you don't know, and that He holds the blueprint for your life. It's in those moments when you feel the most overwhelmed, the most uncertain, that trust becomes your lifeline. It is not a denial of reality, but a firm belief that no matter how dark it gets, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is found in Him. Trust is also about letting go. We live in a world where we are taught to control everything, to fix every problem, and to ensure that everything works according to our plan. But trusting in God requires us to let go of that control and surrender our worries, our anxieties, and our plans to Him. It's about saying, I can't do this on my own, but I know You can. It's in the moments when we finally release the grip we have on our lives that we discover a deeper peace, a peace that comes from knowing we are not carrying the weight of the world alone. When we trust in God, we find freedom. Freedom from the need to control every outcome, freedom from the burden of anxiety, and freedom to walk in faith, knowing that we are held securely in His hand. But trust doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. It's something that is cultivated over time, through experiences, trials, and moments of surrender. Just like a muscle grows stronger with use, our trust in God grows stronger as we continue to lean on Him through every trial. There will be moments when doubt tries to creep in, when the temptation to rely on our own strength is overwhelming. But it's in those moments that we must choose trust. It's a choice that requires us to step out of the comfort of what we know and into the unknown, trusting that God will meet us where we are. And every time we choose trust, our faith grows stronger. There are stories throughout the Bible that demonstrate the power of trust. Take, for instance, the story of Abraham. God asked Abraham to leave everything he knew and go to a land that God would show him. Abraham didn't have all the details, he didn't have a map, and he didn't know the outcome. But he trusted God. He trusted that God would fulfill his promise, even though it seemed impossible. And because Abraham chose to trust, God made him the father of many nations. Trust is what carried David through his battles, what sustained Job through his suffering, and what gave the Israelites the courage to step into the unknown and cross the Red Sea. Trust is what enabled Peter to step out of the boat and walk on water even when the winds were fierce and the waves were high. Trust is what allows us to face the storm with confidence, knowing that the one who calms the seas is with us. It's this trust that gives us the courage to face whatever comes our way, knowing that God is in control and that he will never leave us or forsake us. When fear threatens to overwhelm you, when the waves of anxiety and doubt are crashing down, remember this: God is bigger than your fear. His love is stronger than your panic, and his power is greater than any challenge you face. The world may be full of uncertainty, but when you trust in God, you stand on solid ground. The storms may rage, but you will not be moved. You will not be shaken, because trust in God is the anchor that holds you firm no matter what comes. So I challenge you today to put your trust in the one who is trustworthy. Don't let fear dictate your future. Don't let doubt control your destiny. When the panic sets in, when the world around you seems to be spinning out of control, remember that trust is your lifeline. It will carry you through the darkest of days, and it will lead you into a future filled with hope, purpose, and peace. Trust in God, and you will never be disappointed. He is faithful, and he will never fail you. Your panic does not have to be the end of your story. It can be the catalyst for a new beginning, a transformation that leads you to a place of strength and purpose you never thought possible. When life throws challenges at you, when the waves of doubt and fear crash against your soul, it's easy to feel paralyzed. You may feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, like there is no way out of the pain or confusion. But I want you to hear this. The panic you're feeling does not define you. It does not dictate your future. It is not a permanent condition, but a turning point, a moment of potential for something greater. Panic is a powerful emotion, and it can consume you if you let it. It can cloud your vision, making it difficult to see beyond the immediate crisis. But what if I told you that the very panic you're experiencing could be the fuel for a breakthrough? What if that feeling of being trapped, of being overwhelmed, is the exact thing that could propel you towards something greater than you've ever known? The key to transforming panic into purpose is to change your perspective. Instead of allowing panic to paralyze you, choose to see it as a moment of growth, a moment where you can take control of your response. The enemy wants you to believe that panic is the end. He wants you to think that when fear strikes, you're finished. But God doesn't waste pain. He doesn't waste struggle. He uses those very moments to refine you, to shape you, and to bring out the strength you never knew you had. Every challenge you face, every difficulty you encounter is an opportunity for you to rise higher, to become stronger, and to move closer to the person God created you to be. There is power in the choice to not be defined by your circumstances, but instead to allow your circumstances to refine you. When panic rises within you, take a moment to pause and reflect. Recognize that this moment is temporary and that you are not trapped. You have the ability to choose how you respond. The enemy may try to convince you that fear is a sign of weakness, but God sees it differently. In fact, he allows these moments of panic to remind you of your dependence on him, to remind you that you are not in control of everything, but he is. And when you let go of the need to control the outcome, you make room for God to work in ways you never imagined. When panic sets in, it's easy to get lost in the what-ifs. What if I fail? What if things get worse? What if I never recover from this? But the truth is, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know how everything will turn out. What you do need is to trust that there is a purpose in your pain, that there is meaning in your struggles. When you begin to see panic as the starting point of something greater, it no longer controls you. Instead, it pushes you to find purpose, even in the most difficult times. When God allows you to experience panic, he is giving you an opportunity to lean on him in ways you never have before. He is drawing you closer to his heart, helping you develop a deeper level of trust in him and enabling you to grow in strength and resilience. You may not see it at the moment, but these seasons of panic and fear are not in vain. They are part of the process of your transformation. Through them, you are becoming the person God intends for you to be, stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling the challenges that lie ahead. Every trial, every moment of panic can be turned into a stepping stone toward a new purpose. There is a reason behind every storm you face, even if you can't see it yet. The pain you feel, the panic you experience, are not pointless. They are shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for the purpose God has for your life. When you face these moments with faith, you allow God to take what the enemy meant for harm and turn it into something good. What the enemy tries to use to destroy you, God will use to build you up, to strengthen your faith, and to prepare you for the destiny that lies ahead. This is the power of turning panic into purpose. It doesn't just change your perspective, it transforms your very life. When you choose to rise above the fear and doubt, you are choosing to live with intention, to live with purpose, and to live in alignment with the calling God has placed on your life. The circumstances that once seemed overwhelming no longer have the power to control you. Instead, you gain the power to control how you respond, and in doing so, you take back the authority the enemy tried to steal from you. You see, it's not the panic that defines you, it's how you respond to it. You can either let it paralyze you, or you can use it to fuel your growth. You can either let fear hold you back, or you can let it propel you forward. The choice is yours. When you choose to turn panic into purpose, you are choosing to move forward in faith, trusting that God is with you every step of the way, refining you, strengthening you, and preparing you for the incredible things He has planned for your life. There are countless examples of people throughout history who faced moments of panic and fear only to use those very moments to propel themselves toward greatness. Think of the story of Joseph, who was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison. But even in the midst of his panic and despair, he chose to trust in God. And in the end, God used his pain to elevate him to a position of power, where he was able to save his family and countless others from famine. Joseph's panic did not destroy him. It was the catalyst for the fulfillment of God's plan in his life. The same is true for you. Your panic is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of something greater. It is the opportunity for you to rise above your circumstances, to turn your pain into purpose, and to become the person you were always meant to be. Don't let panic steal your future. Instead, let it propel you into a new season of faith, strength, and purpose. When you choose to rise above the fear, you will discover a power within you that you never knew existed, and that power will carry you through every storm, every trial, and every challenge that comes your way. The world may seem closed off, as if every door has been slammed shut and every path has led to a dead end. You look around and wonder, how did I get here? How did things get so bad? It feels as if you are trapped in a place of isolation and despair, surrounded by walls that seem impossible to scale. The dreams you once had now seem distant, and the future looks uncertain. But I want you to hear this. The world may be closed for a season, but it is not your forever. It is not your permanent condition. Beyond the walls of your current struggle, there is a breakthrough waiting for you, a door that will swing open and lead you to a future filled with possibility, purpose, and victory. There are seasons in life when everything feels like it's on hold, when it seems as though every door is locked, every opportunity is out of reach, and every hope is slipping through your fingers. You may feel as though you've hit a brick wall and there is no way forward. But I want to remind you that what you see in this moment is temporary. The world that feels closed is not the final chapter of your story. It's just a page in a much bigger narrative. The BDS, God has not forgotten you. He has not abandoned you, and He is not done with you. There is still a purpose for your life, and that purpose has not been thwarted by the challenges you face today. When you find yourself in a closed world, it is easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. You may be consumed by the pain of your present circumstances, focused on the closed doors and missed opportunities. But in those moments of darkness, remember that God is still at work, even when you can't see it. Just because the world around you seems closed doesn't mean the possibilities for your future are closed as well. God is still working behind the scenes, orchestrating your breakthrough, preparing the way for you, and setting things in motion that you may not even be aware of. When the world feels closed, it's simply a reminder that you are not in control, but God is. And when He opens a door, no one can shut it. One of the greatest examples of this is the story of the Israelites in the wilderness. After they were freed from slavery in Egypt, they found themselves in a place where the world seemed closed to them. They were trapped between the Red Sea and the pursuing Egyptian army. They had no way forward, no visible means of escape, and no idea how they would survive. But in that moment, God parted the waters of the Red Sea and made a way where there seemed to be no way. The closed world they thought they were trapped in was not their final destination. It was simply the place where God was preparing them for their breakthrough. And just as He made a way for them, He will make a way for you. When you face moments of struggle, when the world around you feels like it has shut its doors, take comfort in knowing that God specializes in opening doors that no one else can open. He is the one who makes a way in the wilderness, who brings streams of water in the desert, and who moves mountains on behalf of those who trust in Him. Your present circumstances may feel impossible, but God is not limited by what you see. He is not confined by the walls that surround you. His power is greater than any obstacle, and His plans for your life are greater than any setback. The closed world you see right now is simply a moment, a fleeting chapter in the grand story that God is writing for you. We often look for immediate solutions, for quick fixes to our problems. We want doors to open right now, and we want to see the way forward clearly. But sometimes God's timing is different from ours. Sometimes He allows us to experience seasons of closed doors so that we can learn to trust Him more fully. It is in those seasons that our faith is tested and refined. It is in those moments of waiting that we are forced to lean on Him more deeply, to rely on His strength instead of our own, and to trust that He is working behind the scenes, even when we can't see the results. During times when the world feels closed, it's important to remember that God's perspective is different from ours. What we see as a setback, He sees as a setup for something greater. The very obstacles that seem to be blocking your path could be the very things that God is using to prepare you for something bigger and better. What appears to be a closed world is in reality an opportunity for God to do something new in your life. You may not understand it now, but the doors that seem locked today are simply the prelude to the doors that God will open for you tomorrow. Trusting God in the midst of a closed world requires patience. It requires believing that even when things seem impossible, God is still at work. He is still leading, still guiding, still orchestrating your breakthrough. The waiting season is never wasted when you trust that God is using it to shape you, to refine your character, and to prepare you for the doors He is about to open. It may feel uncomfortable, it may feel frustrating, and it may feel like you're stuck in a place you can't escape from. But in those moments, remember that God is still in control. He has not forgotten you, and He is not done with you. When the world feels closed, take heart in the fact that God has a plan for your life. A plan that is greater than anything you can imagine. The closed doors you see today will not be the end of your journey. They are simply part of the process that leads to the greater things God has in store for you. There are opportunities waiting for you that you cannot yet see, but if you remain faithful, if you continue to trust in Him, He will open those doors at the right time. And when He does, you will step into a future that is far beyond anything you could have imagined. Your closed world is not the end. It is not your final destination. It is simply the place where God is preparing you for what's to come. So don't lose heart. Don't give up. Trust that the doors that are meant for you will open in God's perfect timing, and that the world that seems closed today will be transformed into a world of endless possibilities tomorrow. Keep trusting, keep hoping, and keep believing. Because with God, nothing is ever truly closed. There is always a way forward, even when you can't see it yet. As we come to the close of this journey together, I want you to remember one powerful truth. The world may seem closed, the doors may appear locked, and panic may grip your heart, but none of this is the final word. In the midst of struggle, in the depth of darkness, God is still working, He is still faithful, and He is still opening doors that no man can shut. The world around you may be closed, but your story is far from over. It is merely a chapter in a greater narrative that God is writing, and your breakthrough is coming. When everything seems impossible, remember that God specializes in making a way when there seems to be no way. He does not waste pain, and He does not waste a moment of struggle. Every challenge you face, every moment of panic, is simply a setup for the purpose He has for your life. So trust in Him, lean on Him, and know that no matter how closed the world may seem today, He is already opening doors to a future far greater than you can imagine. Your moment of panic is not the end. It is the beginning of a transformation. The doors that are locked today will swing wide open tomorrow. The world that seems closed will one day reveal new opportunities, new possibilities, and new purpose. Hold on to hope, keep trusting, and know that with God the best is yet to come. Keep walking in faith, for He is faithful, and He will never leave you or forsake you. Your breakthrough is just ahead, and it will be greater than you ever imagined.